Hey everyone, it's the Diva, and I'm here with a quick video on Diddy's lawyer. Diddy's lawyer spoke out to CNN and pretty much explained that one, the reason why they arrested him Monday night and not Tuesday like they were supposed to is because they wanted to arrest him and make it seem like Diddy was a flight risk. He said as soon as Diddy arrived in New York City, he called them, said he's here, he's ready to turn himself in, he's ready to cooperate. But no, they didn't want to do that. Why? Because they wanted to arrest him. So when they go before that judge, they could say no bail because they want to see him break in jail. And if you're a prosecutor, that's what you would want to do, right? They want to see him break down. They want to break his soul. Like allegedly, he has broke many other souls, right? So I always have to be clear because people get it twisted as I analyze this particular thing. I want to get it clear. If there's a victim, they deserve justice, okay? And somebody did a crime, they deserve to be behind bars, but they also deserve for a fair jury to happen. And what happens is a lot of times when it's these cases like this, people don't care about the law. They like, lock him up, do whatever, blah, blah, blah. He's sinister, he's the devil. And all of that could be true. But when you are willing to tell a court, and let the court sidestep on justice with one person, it trickles down to us little people where they sidestep and bypass justice and don't care about any witnesses or any evidence or following any rules. So if they break it with one, whether it's a celebrity or not, they will break it with us all. And that's why I'm here for due process, okay? Has nothing to do with Diddy personally. It's about due process. Due process is that people have a right to a bail hearing. There are people that had more severe charges than Diddy has ever had, and they had access to be out on bail. Okay. So, and also in addition to that, you can tell like the little setup the government is kind of doing in a sort of way. It's almost like they are, I'm trying to find the right word for it, but I feel like they're a little embarrassed because they raided this home, and they felt like, you know, the people are waiting, the people are wondering, when are we going to arrest Diddy? And their case is not airtight. If you listen to the press conference yesterday, the guy puts out a call with a phone number. If you want to talk, any witnesses, come to me. But they said they got 50 already or about that, right? They said they got a ton of witnesses. They spoke to a ton of people already, and that is why they was able to come down with this indictment. I know people that go to jail on half a witness. They're claiming they got about 40 something, and you still need more people to call in. I know people that barely remember what they saw. I think the car was green. Yeah, they looked like Diva because they had gray hair and they wore these similar glasses. Next thing you know, Diva in jail for life, and Diva was nowhere near the crime scene. She was at Pilates class somewhere. But because they got this half a witness swearing 10 toes down, it was Diva. I'm locked up and clinked up. They claim they got 40-something plus witnesses, and they're still calling for more. And many people's like, well, Diva, the feds ain't going to let you know all their cars. Well, they let us know about 1,000 bottles of lubricant, which is ridiculous. So they'll let us know that over letting us know, listen, I saw these FO tapes, these videos. And when I saw them, it looked like some young girls was in there, some young boys was in there, okay? So we're getting him on that. When I saw the FO videos, it looked like everybody that was participating in these said acts, it looked like they was out of it. They looked like they was not in their right state of mind and being taken advantage of. They didn't say that. Do you understand what I'm getting at? Their case is not airtight. But listen, you don't have to listen to the Diva. Let's listen to his lawyer talk about it. So hold on. Let me share screen.
Arguing is not only does your client pose a flight risk because obviously he's incredibly wealthy, has access to planes and a lot of staff, even though you said he turned over his passport to you months ago. They were also worried about him being able to interfere with witnesses and calling them. And so I guess the question is, how do you assure the court that that won't happen if prosecutors are saying this is someone who's attempted to bribe security staff and has already threatened and interfered with witnesses?
So I think the most important thing, even more important than the passport, is that Mr. Combs came to New York on September 5th. As soon as we realized that this indictment was going to be coming down in a matter of weeks, maybe months, but sometime soon, Mr. Combs got on a plane, left his home in Florida, flew to New York. I called the prosecutors myself. I said, Mr. Combs is in New York. Do you want to know where he is? If you want to know where he is, I'll tell you where he is. But he wants to surrender. He's here to surrender. They didn't want him to surrender, because if he surrenders, they don't get to tell the judge that he's a flight risk and he's a danger. Because who, as a danger and a flight risk, would fly to New York and surrender? So they didn't want him to surrender.
So since September 5th, you had known, you expected it was likely he was going to formally face charges.
So I really knew he was formally going to face charges on March 25th, the day of the searches, when Homeland Security searched his Los Angeles home, his Miami home, and his airplane. I knew that day by looking at the search warrants. I mean, I've been doing this for a while. This is not my first or 100th rodeo, that this was going to come as a matter of time. What I realized in early September is that it was coming soon. And so it was time for Mr. Combs to come to New York, which he did. And let me just point out one very important thing. The prosecutors are seizing on something that happened 8 years ago. You know, this video that we've all seen, and it's a bad video for Mr. Combs, and he said so himself when he gave his apology. This is 8 years ago, and the prosecutors are talking about him bribing a hotel security worker. There was no criminal investigation. This was just a matter of personal embarrassment, because he and the person in the video were in the midst of a 10-year relationship that was difficult at times, that was toxic at times, but it was mutually so. And this whole notion that Mr. Combs is forcing drugs on someone is just nonsensical, and it's going to prove to not be true.
Well, on that video, he initially denied the allegations when his then girlfriend, who is in that video, filed a lawsuit last fall. And we have that video. I should note, CNN was the first outlet to exclusively report on it. He denied that happened when she filed it in a complaint. And then when the video came out is when he apologized for it.
So I wasn't his lawyer back then. So I don't, and I don't think he denied. I mean, I think the lawyers were the ones mostly making the denials. I think they were denying sex crimes. I mean, because at the end of the day, the gravamen of that civil complaint wasn't a misdemeanor assault, which is what you see on that video. Not minimizing it, but it's a misdemeanor assault. What the gravamen of the complaint was sex crimes, and he denied that, and he still does.
Well, and you're saying that this is all just about that one relationship, but when you read through the indictment, they say that there's not just one victim. They say there's multiple victims here today. And what I heard described was they said they have 50 witnesses or victims.
Yeah, I think it's 49 witnesses and one victim. I think if you broke it down, and I say that because count 2, which is the sex trafficking count, has victim number 1, and there is no victim number 2 anywhere in the indictment.
So you're saying that there are not other women, because what they were essentially arguing here is that he coerced and forced women into sex acts by using physical force, financial pressure, emotional abuse, and narcotics for what they described as these freak-off sessions. They saying that he self-described them as that.
Yeah, there's one victim in the indictment. That the charging
but
document.
One victim does count, right?
No, of course, but I'm just not. It's not 50. I mean, what they did is a little too cute. It's 50 witnesses or victims. Well, it's one victim. That's all that's in the indictment.
Our reporter who was in the courtroom today said that he appeared to have a stunned expression on his face. Was he surprised that he was arrested last night?
No, he definitely was not. I mean, I told him myself in early September, you are going to be arrested soon, and you're going to be charged with racketeering, and you're going to be charged with sex trafficking. So come to New York. It wasn't a long conversation. He agreed. So we knew this was coming. And in fact, we offered that he would turn himself in.
So if there are these witnesses and victims, and as you're saying that you believe it's one victim and 49 witnesses who saw this behavior, that's pretty powerful, though, to have that many people who have, if they go to court and argue that they witnessed this behavior by your client.
Well,
what's your defense against that kind of
So my defense is very well established. I interviewed myself the different men who were being brought sort of into Mr. Combs and this person's intimate situation. I've flown around the country. I've interviewed a large number of them. There's not the slightest inkling, according to the interviews that I've done, of anything that's coercive, non-consensual. Nobody was too drunk. Nobody was too high. These were adults in a relation. This is a 10-year relationship. We can't forget that. This is a 10-year relationship, and it was adults and consensual, and everybody who was there wanted to be there. So I feel very confident in our position.
You said you interviewed the men, but what about the women?
I haven't interviewed the woman. The woman's not available to me. She's presumably a grand jury witness, and we would not. We cannot try to interview a grand jury witness.
And you don't think that there are any other women who are going to say that they were coerced into this, given drugs, and essentially as prosecutors were saying that that's what kept them compliant?
So there are a lot of
sessions.
women in these civil cases. There's been a mountain of civil cases ever since the civil case that was filed in November. I don't see them as victims in the indictment. That's my point.
And so when you talk about that video of Cassie Ventura, that was his then girlfriend, in the video, I mean, just when you saw that, you said it's a bad video. It's pretty difficult to watch.
It is, no question. So let me tell you what happened.
Will that be used as evidence in court, do you think?
100%, 100%. So what I said in court today, and I'll say it again here, is the two of them were in a hotel. It was just the two of them in a hotel room. She found out that he was seeing someone else. She was going through his phone. She hit him in the head with his own phone. And then she walks into the hallway with two bags. One of the bags has all of his clothing taken from him, which is why he runs out in a towel. So this isn't her fleeing from one of these freak-offs. Why would she take his clothing? That's not what it is. And when the evidence comes out, this is going to be completely different than the government's portrayed it.
But on this video, and I just want to show that again now, how do you defend against allegations that he hit, kicked, and dragged women when he's on video hitting, kicking, and dragging a woman?
Sure, he's not charged with hitting, kicking, and dragging a woman. He's charged with sex trafficking, and he didn't traffic anybody.
But he's charged with a conspiracy here where he was using physical abuse, emotional abuse, financial pressure, as prosecutors allege, to keep these women in his fold. Maybe just Cassie Ventura, but keeping these women in the fold.
Cassie Ventura lived by herself. She had her own house. She had a family. She had a career. And he was seeing another woman at the time. He wasn't around a lot. She could have done whatever she wanted to do. All of these allegations of, I was forced, I was coerced, I had to stay, are nonsense. And it's going to be proven to be so.
That video, in the indictment, it alleges that your client paid hotel staff $50,000 to make it disappear from the hotel surveillance system. Did he pay off the hotel staff?
Not that I know of. I know that's an allegation. I don't know that is true. What I was concerned about when I heard about this allegation is whether there was an allegation that there was some sort of law enforcement investigation pending, because then that would be a crime. But there was none. And so this is not a crime.
You said you're portraying this as adults who were at these events that wanted to be, I shouldn't even call them events. That's not certainly how anyone else would label it, but that they wanted to be there. But they also allege that they were recorded and essentially used as blackmail. Is that not true?
That's not true. That's not true.
How can you prove that when they have electronic evidence that, as they argue, over 90 cell phones, laptops, iCloud storage accounts, 30 electronic and storage devices, hard drives, thumb drives? Yeah. You're not worried about that?
No, because if they had it, they would have put it in the indictment. It's not in the indictment.
When it comes to your client's credibility, I think people will look at what he said last fall. And it's not just his attorneys. I mean, he pays those attorneys. They're speaking on his behalf. They're the ones calling her claims baseless and ridiculous. And when you read the indictment today, they line up with what she alleged in that lawsuit last fall.
If the claim is that he had unwanted sex with her, that claim is baseless. And it will be proven to be baseless when we have a trial.
But the claim is obviously the conspiracy, the racketeering. It's much larger than just that, obviously, as you know.
It is, but the government wants it to be. But count two, which is the sex trafficking count, relates to one person and one person alone. All of this talk of dozens of victims and 50 witnesses, if they had that, if they really had it, it would be in the indictment.
Ooh.
Let's go ahead.
It's a lot to dissect. We'll have the conversation. So chat with me in the comments, and when I get an opportunity, I will chat back. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that every time I upload a video, you will be notified. If you are a subscriber, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for watching. So I showed this today because yesterday we tried to have the discussion, a level discussion. The sensationalism is out there. We heard it, we know about it. And listen, there are many people out there that have different encounters when it comes to adult relations. And like I said, any victim, because there's been more sinister stories about Diddy versus this FO situation. And what do I mean? There's been young people that was under his watch in the music industry. If you've been following, you know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to throw those names out there, where I feel like even though the statute of limitations may have run out, those are slam dunk situations that could probably really sink him. But when you're talking about these paid workers and other adults that perhaps were part of these freak offs, you are going to need people that are going to say, I was forced. It's going to be hard for it to say the S workers was forced, right? If you receive payment for it. And yes, you could get him on maybe a charge of soliciting P, right? But here's the thing. If you got someone that you know committed some really sinister crimes, do you want to just put them away for this stuff over here? And maybe they say, you know what, if we can catch him and get him 100 years in jail for this stuff, it'd be, you know, a consolation prize maybe, you know, for the other stuff that he did. Because the point maybe they're trying to make is he will be behind bars. But if I was a victim, I would probably want him to go to jail for the exact crimes that he did against me. But that's my thought process right now. I can waver. I can change with a conversation. But all I want to put out there for y'all is their case is on shaky ground. And they got a hard road up, but so does Diddy's lawyers. So listen, guys, chat with me. I will chat back. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next video.